All right, so as you guys know, the Tidefall update just released literally, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours ago. We were live, we went over a bunch of different stuff. It was a little confusing, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think we have a general understanding now, so let's go ahead and jump right into this because there is a lot to go over. Now, as soon as you jump into the update, you are going to be making your way right in between Mush Grove as well as Snowcap. So go ahead and jump on your vehicle, start traveling in this direction. You literally can't miss it. It says Tidefall. It'll kind of be a little bit closer to like Ancient Isles, if anything. You'll know you arrived because you basically see a bunch of these boats parked. Now, at the time that I'm recording this video, there's a little bit of a bug with the quest that I'm about to introduce to you guys, but it should be fixed shortly. You can pretty much complete the entire quest, but you cannot turn it in. It's kind of weird, but either way, if we go ahead and jump on this rowboat and then jump on the red boat that's right back here, you'll find both of these deep diver NPCs. If you go ahead and speak to the left one, he's going to basically tell you that one of the divers basically didn't come back. Choose the option that says, I'll look for him. And at the top left-hand side, you will start the quest called Lost Diver. Now, this part is going to be a little bit tricky, primarily because as soon as you go ahead and travel down, there's something that's called basically like pressure. It'll be very hard for you to miss it because it's going to pop up as like a bar right next to your oxygen. And that pressure meter will continuously go down until it reaches 0 and then it eventually kills you. There's a much easier way of doing this, but I figured I'd go ahead and tell you guys about it right now so you can sort of get it done and over with right at the very beginning. So for this, you're going to obviously need your super flippers or of course a tide breaker and an advanced diving gear. Keep in mind, you're going to need all of that stuff to even get inside of Tidefall, not just only to actually complete this quest. But anyways, follow along with me. We're going to go ahead and pull out our tide breaker, jump into the water and go straight down. You'll pass both of these bridges and then you're going to see this sort of like sunken submarine. To the right side of that, you'll find an NPC that you rescue. Keep in mind, your pressure is going down very, very fast. And then start making your way back to the top with the tide breaker. Don't worry, once you reach about the 2 crossed bridges, you'll start gaining your entire pressure meter again. So you should be pretty good. But anyways, as soon as you're up here, stand right over here, deliver the Lost Diver, and there you go. Now you got yourself an Abyssal Tonic. This is sort of where the bug starts to happen. If you talk to him, it doesn't exactly let you turn in the quest, but that should be fixed at some point. The point is that you have the quest done now, so once it's fixed, it's just a matter of coming back to him and talking to him. Anyways, at this point, we're going to go ahead now and put our tide breaker back on, head back down to the bottom, except this time we're not going to stop. We're just going to keep going. Right next to the submarine, you're going to find the hole, go down there, and then you're going to find an even smaller hole, and then the cutscene begins. Welcome, you have officially entered beautiful Tidefall. This is by far one of the biggest maps that the Fisch development team has made since maybe like Atlantis, honestly, because there's so much going on that honestly, at first it might be just a little bit overwhelming. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's okay. That's where I'm going to make it a little bit easier for you. Now, right over here is the waterfall that you are basically going to enter through. Right next to that, you'll find a stall that has a couple of different items, some that can be instantly purchased and others that you need to complete certain tasks to obtain them. Number 1, over here you have the Tide Mourner head for 750,000. You can purchase this right off the bat, but it is completely useless to you, primarily because it's used to craft a specific rod. We'll get to that a little bit later on. To the left of the Tide Mourner head, you'll find the Abyssal Tonic. You can go ahead and buy as many of these as you want. Just keep in mind that the only thing that the Abyssal Tonic does is make you survive that entire pressure thing up there. So just keep that in mind. To the left of the Abyssal Tonic, you are going to find the Withered Spear for 1.75 mil. The thing is that in order to obtain this, you have to complete 100% of the Tidefall Bestiary. We will go over the stats for that in just a little bit. Underneath that, you're going to find the Dripstone Collapse Totem for 35 mil. Those can indeed be purchased as many as you want. You don't need to actually unlock anything. It's just the fact that they are 35 mil a piece, and they are very, very important to be able to progress through basically the final room in this whole area. To the left of that, you're going to find the Fallen Rod, 175k to purchase this. Nothing is required in order to purchase it. It is 70% lure speed, 95% luck, 0.12 control, 30% resilience, with 80,000 max kg. Now, the way that this rod works is actually kind of interesting. So basically, if I open up a GPS here, you'll notice that at the bottom, there is an X-axis, a Y-axis, and a Z-axis. Well, this specific rod, if you're under -400 of the Y-axis in particular, there's a 50% chance for the fallen mutation, a plus 50% size boost, and by default, it has a -25% size penalty. So in other words, this is one of those rods that you would want to use while down here. And it's actually a rod that you're going to need in order to complete one of the quests located inside of the Sunken reliquary that you see right back here. We'll move on to that in just a second. When you go ahead and open up your bestiary, you'll notice that there is a couple of brand new zones that are completely locked. And that's because, like I mentioned before, Tidefall is similar more to like Atlantis, where it has individual little corridors that you can go into for specific different areas that have their own bestiary. The one in the area that we're in right now, which is sort of like the primary hub, it is called Tidefall. So yes, there is a specific bestiary for this area, and to complete this entire bestiary, as well as pretty much every single one of the other ones here, you're going to be required to not only fish, but you're also going to be required to use cages and spears. Additionally, aside from that, you'll also need to go ahead and successfully catch a fish during a hunt. I'll tell you guys which areas have hunts, which conveniently, we're in one right now, which Tidefall is one of the first areas that has its own designated hunt. I won't lie to you, man. I don't know what this thing is called, like a plesiosaur, a lesiosaur. Either way, this is what it looks like right here. It kind of looks like a beefed up Nessie, if I'm being honest with you. Here's a better look of what that looks like right there. Quite the beautiful and absolutely large fish. But as I mentioned before, this is going to spawn in as a hunt. You can only catch it when that hunt is active. You'll know when that happens because it'll spawn just like how the Moss Jaws just spawned up here. It'll spawn it right up there. Or if you want to go ahead, you can open up your chat and switch your tab to events. This is where it will tell you as well. One thing that a lot of you are going to be looking for is going to be the anchor, and it's actually a requirement to be able to craft one of the rods inside of the archive. So I did want to go ahead and point out that this is obtainable through fishing, obviously with the preferred bait of magnet, but you can also get this from the crab cages. So keep that in mind. Now let's take a look here really quickly at the withered spear. Power is 15, handling is -10, piercing 3. This is what it looks like in game. Actually a really cool spear. The kicker obviously is that some of these actually have passives now. In particular, the withered spear has a 25% chance to give you the withered mutation. Aside from that, that's pretty much it. So now let's go ahead and move on to the first area. We're going to cross the bridge here and make it into the Sunken reliquary. As soon as you arrive here, you're going to notice that it is basically just a big long corridor that leads all the way to the end to basically an area where you can fish. To the left, you are going to find the new relic crab cages. This is actually pretty interesting because some of the cages actually have passives now. In the case of this one right here, it is slightly slower at catching things, but it does have a higher luck. So definitely something that you want to keep in mind when you're purchasing these. Next up, you're going to find this area right here that has basically an area to place down essence, which I'll explain more in a second. And then behind that, you're also going to have this question mark thing that you can interact with, where this ginormous mermaid looking thing goes ahead and pops up. This mermaid is going to ask you to place all 3 of the essence on basically the pedestals that are right behind you. To obtain the essence that you place right here, you're going to need those dripstone collapse totems that I showed you before. The problem with this is that currently there's a little bit of a bug, but I have gotten confirmation that they are currently working on this, and it should hopefully be fixed by the time that you're watching this video. The primary issue that was going on right now is that sometimes you would use this totem and it would spawn in places where unfortunately it was not obtainable. Like for example, it would say Dev Island or Dev Place Island or something like that. Sometimes it would even spawn in the coral area and the dripstones just would not spawn in. In my case right now, they spawned in Tidefall. You'll see it over here in the events tab. And it's quite simple. You just travel over to Tidefall now and we're going to look for some of these dripstones. Keep in mind, they're fairly difficult to find, even though there's technically one right in front of me right now. This is basically why they're so difficult to find. And it's because they blend in with pretty much everything else. Now, as soon as you find it, you go ahead and pull out your pickaxe, swing it at the rock a couple times, and eventually this will go ahead and break. You'll know that it's working because the rock sort of like shakes a little bit. And there you go. You received a rock. So unfortunately, we did not get an essence out of that. But you sort of get the idea. Like, for example, down here in the water, there's another one. You would just come into the water, start swinging your pickaxe. And yeah, you just got to keep doing this until you're able to get one of every single one of the essence. To my knowledge, every essence is sort of locked into a specific zone. Like, for example, you can get the Tide essence over there inside of the Tidefall area, or you get the Thalassar essence in another one of the areas, and the Requiem in another area, and so forth. You guys get the idea. I don't know if this is how they've remained. Maybe it could be just completely random. But either way, the point is that that's how you obtain these essence. Keep in mind that you want to be very, very careful. These dripstone events can spawn from the totem, but they can also spawn naturally. And when these dripstones actually spawn in, they drop down. So if, for example, I was here sort of casually fishing at Sunken, and for some miracle, a dripstone spawned inside of here, and that rock lands on top of me, it will kill me. So just something to be aware of. Either way, once you have all three, you come over here, place them all down, just like we did right there. And then we're going to go ahead and talk to this lady again. She's going to basically be excited, but then it's technically not over there. Now she's going to ask you to bring her a specific fish. In my case, she asked for a exotic reef titan and the secret pirate captain's goldfish. The really cool part about this is that she can go ahead and then modify your rod, whatever rod it is that you're using, to basically give you different stats. It's pretty interesting, but some of the fish that are obviously requested there are actually very, very difficult. So something that you want to keep in mind. Now, for the final thing that you can do inside of this sunken area is another fish hunt. As you can see, what I'm holding right here is called the Omnithal. This one spawns inside of this area as, like I mentioned before, a hunt. I actually have a picture of this because we got it to spawn in during my live stream. So in case you're confused for whatever reason, this is what it looks like right here. Giant fish in the water. You literally cannot miss it. And again, it'll say, like you see in the chat up here, Omnithal hunt has begun. And yeah, that's everything for the sunken area. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be Coral Bastion. To get to this next one, we're going to go ahead and travel back out to the Tidefall main hub and just sort of go to the right side. It's kind of hard to get lost, especially since it has these sort of like markers on it. Just go ahead and travel through in between this little crack on the wall here, and you will officially be inside of Coral Bastion. Now, I'll be honest, man, inside of here, there is quite a bit going on. Obviously, you have your main bestiary that's inside of here. You've got yourself some coral crab cages for 1,500. These are a little bit different than the ones inside of the sunken area. These have a weight limit of 50 kg. And they are faster at catching things rather than being slower. Additionally, when you go ahead and stand right by this one, jump to the left side over here, and you're going to find yourself some coral geodes for 300 cash. From that coral geode, if we jump around this sort of pillar right here, you're going to find the coral rod for 30,000. But the catch here is that you do need to complete 50% of the Coral Bastion bestiary to be able to purchase it. Finally, from the location of the coral rod, we're going to jump sort of across right over here, and you are going to find the coral spear for 75,000. This one requires 75% of the Coral Bastion bestiary discovered. In regards to the coral rod, it has 72% lure speed, 74% luck, 0.02 control, 40% resilience, with the max kg being 10,000. Additionally, the progress speed is plus 10%. This is what that looks like in case you're curious. Not the craziest looking rod, but also not the worst. As for the passive on this one, it says a 50% chance for coral mutation and a plus 10% on the progress speed, which is, like I said, mentioned right here. Coral spear, on the other hand, is 4 power, 20 handling, and 25 piercing. And of course, just like the withered spear, that one also has a passive, which is a 100% chance of getting the coral mutation on it. Now, finally, just like the other areas, this one does also have a hunt, and this is where you're going to be able to get that reef titan. I won't lie to you, man, this is probably one of the coolest looking ones, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It's a little bit tight in here for me to show you. I'll go ahead and walk out and show you guys again here in a second. Hold on. All right, there we go. That's what the reef titan looks like. It is absolutely ridiculous. This is by far the coolest looking one, and it is obtainable inside of the Coral Bastion as a hunt, remember. Next up, we're moving into the collapsed ruins area. This one is a little bit more difficult to find, but not really. If you have something like a velocity coil, really, you can just sort of jump up here. It's really hard to not find these places because they have markers on them. But yeah, if you go ahead and travel inside of here, there isn't really much going on inside of here besides its own bestiary. But the thing with this area is that it's kind of a twofer, primarily because there's a secondary area inside of here that does have a good amount of stuff. But primarily what you're going to be coming inside of here for is, again, to finish that bestiary, and number 2, for the plesiosaur hunt. I'm actually going to go ahead and jump down here to show you guys this because I think we've proven that these are going to be extremely ridiculous. Look at the length on this thing, dude. But yeah, this is what the plesiosaur looks like right here. It is something that spawns as a hunt inside of this area only. This is the name. And as I said, for the most part, that is pretty much the only thing that you're going to be doing in this area besides using it to cross over into the crowned ruins, which is technically the final area before we move in to the technically secret area, being the Tidefall Castle. But either way, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. As soon as you arrive inside of the crowned ruins, on the right side, you are going to find the golden crab cages for 25,000 a piece. These crab cages are pretty much the ideal ones that you want to use, primarily because they catch fast and they have higher luck. Additionally, they have a 50% chance to grant you 2 fish. So again, these are the ones that you primarily want to go for, but obviously they are a little bit more on the pricier side. Additionally, to the left-hand side, you are going to find the Royal Spear for 3.75 mil. This spear is going to require you to go ahead and have 100% of the bestiary inside of this area completed. To do that, obviously you would travel down here and fish inside of this pool of water. The Royal Spear has 11 power, 23 handling with 30 piercing, and the passive ability on this is a 35% chance for the Royal Mutation and a 35% chance for the Midas Mutation. Pretty cool looking spear too. Now, finally, the only other thing that you're doing in this particular area is going to be the hunt for the Gold Wraith. This is what that bad boy looks like right here. Kind of insane looking. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's a really, really cool looking, I don't even know, serpent, I guess, or something. Very, very detailed, very cool. Which I do want to go ahead and point out that each one of these does have its sort of little like secret variant to it. Remember, the Reef Titan, I showed you guys this. It does have a Colossus Reef Titan version that's the secret. The Collapsed Ruin over here has the Plesiosaur with the Ancestral Plesiosaur as the secret. Again, not a divine, but it is a secret. Same for the Sunken Reliquary. This one obviously has the Omnithal with a Awakened Omnithal that is a secret. And then, of course, finally, at the very end here, we have the Gold Wraith with the secret version being the Ancient Gold Wraith. So there you have it. That is pretty much a breakdown into every single one of the zones. Now we're going to move into basically the ending stuff. Now, for this last part, things might get a little bit confusing, so I need you to sort of lock in and pay attention, because we're basically going to be talking about all of these obelisks that are all around the center area of Tidefall. Each one of these obelisks are going to require you to bring one of the hunt fish, except for one of them. In total, you're going to need 1 Gold Wraith, 1 Omnithal, 1 Plesiosaur, and 1 Reef Titan. The last thing that you're going to need is a sparkling dripstone. In case you aren't aware, the dripstone is obtained in Tidefall and it's considered a trash, but you need to get this bad boy sparkling. Now, with that being said, we're going to start off with the first one being the gold one. This one is located inside of the Collapsed Ruin, all the way over here in the back corner, right before you get to the entrance of the Crowned Ruins. For this one, you're going to bring your Gold Wraith, go ahead and talk to the Obelisk, and offer the fish, and there you go. You're going to know because it is literally floating. I mean, it's kind of hard not to know. Next, we are at the Purple Obelisk. This one is right across from where the shop is. So right over here, this waterfall is where you would come into Tidefall. And then right over there is the shop. Across from it is where the purple one is. For this one, we're going to need the Omnithal. Go ahead and offer the Omnithal. Boom. Completed. Next up is the Plesiosaur, and we're going to be at the Red Obelisk. This one is a little bit more hidden. Let's see if I can find you guys sort of like a reference point. So if we sort of walk this way, you'll see that right there is the vendor. It'll be right behind the vendor. Go ahead and offer in your Plesiosaur. Next up, we are at, I guess, kind of like the baby blue one. We'll call this one the sand, since there is sand right up here. As a reference point, there is the entrance waterfall. Right over there is the vendor that we've been talking about. And the baby blue one is going to be right up here. For this, we are going to give the Reef Titan. And that now officially leaves us with one more. And that one is the gray Obelisk, or if you want to call it the white one. It is quite literally right in front of where you would come inside of Tidefall. For this one, you're going to need that sparkling dripstone. Go ahead and offer it. And you hear the sound of something opening. Now you can officially make your way over to the Tidefall Castle. This one is going to be a little bit tricky to find, primarily because it doesn't have a mark. So you kind of just have to walk around until eventually you come across it. There's not really like a crazy reference point for me to show you guys. But yeah, as soon as you arrive here, you'll notice that the gate is completely open. Go ahead and walk inside of here and you will officially be in the inner Tidefall Castle. Once you arrive here, you'll notice that something interesting happens where if you fish here, well, quite literally nothing happens. And that's because inside of here, there is going to be one specific hunt, and it's for the Plesiosaur. I don't really know how to say this. It's basically like a ginormous Nessie. That is basically what it is. The hunt for this spawns inside of here, and it is technically the only divine that you can get for this update. It is considered a divine secret, assuming you get the forbidden version of it. There's two of them, just like for every single one of the other areas. Now, we've officially made our way over here to the archive because, as you can see, there is 4 brand new rods inside of here. You have Dead Man's Rod, Tide Mourner, Requiem, as well as the Anchor Rod. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I have no information whatsoever on the Dead Man's Rod. So this is going to have to be a separate video because I actually have no clue how to do this. Obtaining the Dead Man's Tentacle, the Dead Man's Treasure, or the Dead Man's Wood is completely clueless to me as of right now. So now let's start off with the first one being the Tide Mourner. For this one, you're going to need 3 Tide Essence, which I've already explained how to get it in this video. You'll also need 5 Iron Chunks, which these can obviously be obtained inside of the mineshaft at Sunstone. Then you have the Tide Mourner Head, which can be purchased from the vendor inside of Tidefall. And finally, a Mourned Moonstone. In regards to the Moonstone, the only way that I know of getting it as of right now is by pretty much appraising for it. That's quite literally it. But yeah, aside from that, you just need 1.2 mil, and then you can go ahead and craft yourself the Tide Mourner. This is what it looks like right here. We have 50% lure speed, 250% luck, 0.4 control, 0% resilience with an infinite max kg. Actually a really sick looking rod. And if we go ahead and fish with this, I'll tell you guys exactly what the passive is on it in just a second. That little boom animation and bonk is really cool. So basically how it works is the higher cast power will cause a harder slam, granting initial progress. So if I was to go ahead and wait until it was amazing, it'll go ahead and do a slam in just a second here, boom, and then it gives you a huge chunk of initial sort of progress. Additionally, if I was to go ahead and get it on a perfect cast, it'll have a 50% chance to stun the fish for 5 seconds. See if I can get a perfect cast here, because I'm actually kind of terrible at that for whatever reason. Yeah, I'm just terrible at it. Now, if you're able to keep the fish inside of the white bar for 5 seconds, it will do that sort of little bonk that you guys saw there. And overall, that's pretty much it. Pretty cool rod. Again, it is a bit of a challenge, but probably one of the more easier ones, except for obviously that Moonstone, and definitely a really cool looking rod. Next up, we have the Anchor and Chain Rod. This one is negative 100% lure speed, 50% luck, 0.5 control, 100% resilience with a 5 mil max kg, I think. That might be 500k. No, I was right. It is 5 mil. This one is interesting. It definitely looks very interesting. Let's see what this sort of performs like here. Yes, just as I anticipated. Nothing. Let's test it over here at Moosewood where it actually works. But anyways, basically what this does is that it always catches 3 unique fish. It also has a 10% chance to give the Rusty mutation, and it naturally always has a negative 10% progress speed on it. So as you can see, there is the negative 10%, and it catches 3 of them. It's actually kind of interesting, but they are just unique fishes. Now for the Requiem rod, you probably noticed that when I came inside of this Sunken section here, I skipped right over this NPC, which is the magical diver. When you speak to him, he's going to ask you to get a fallen flying grenade, which can actually be caught inside of here using the fallen rod. When you go ahead and bring him that fish, he's basically going to tell you that he feels the aura, blah, blah, it wasn't an easy one, and gives you a cosmic relic. If you talk to him again, you're basically at this point going to start up the Requiem questline. This has to be completely done in order to be able to get the actual rod. All of the stuff that's going to be asked in here, I've already explained to you where you can get your hands on it. So I don't really need to explain this entire quest line to you, but just know that at the very end of this entire quest line, you're going to be given a Requiem core, and that is extremely important in order to be able to get the Requiem rod. Because as you can see right here, you're going to need yourself 5 of the Requiem essence, which again, already explained how to get the essence, the core that I just showed you guys how to get, and an awakened Omnithal. Again, remember the awakened Omnithal is the secret version. It's going to be really difficult to get, but that is a requirement to get this. Additionally, you're also going to need one of those Pelorosauruses or whatever they're called. That's going to be from the final area that I showed you guys before. This is what the rod looks like right here. Lure speed 120%. Luck 277%, control 0.1, resilience 63%, with a max kg of 1.5 million. Here is what that looks like. Very, very cool looking. Nice little trail every single time that you walk. And if we make our way over to Moosewood, we can go ahead and take a quick little glimpse at what the passive for this is going to be. Nothing really wrong happened there, but I did unfortunately lose the fish. If I go ahead and do it again, you're going to notice that I'm not really doing anything crazy, but I lost it. Why is that? The answer is quite simple. The passive for this rod is that for every click while the fish is inside of the bar, it'll give a plus 7% to progression. But if you spam click too fast, it's going to delete the fish and end the entire minigame, pretty much forcing you to lose the fish. Additionally, there's a 20% chance to double catch fish, and that doubled fish will have a 0.2 times size multiplier as well as the husk mutation. The other doubled fish will end up having a 1.8 times with the Requiem mutation on it. So yeah, it's by far one of the most interesting rods. I don't really know how I feel about it. I mean, like, it's cool, but like, it's also not for me because like I tend to click a lot. I don't know, dude. It's interesting, definitely. And look, if you notice right there, I got one with the Requiem mutation on it. Actually kind of cool, man. Definitely an interesting rod. Now, at this point, you're probably like, well, that's great. We finally made it to the end. But there's actually one more rod in the game, and it is technically considered a secret. So if you've made it this far into the video, congratulations, because this is definitely a lengthy one. For this one, we're going to need quite a lot of materials, but we decided to come back out of Tidefall because that is also one of the requirements. Before I waste your time, one of the most important things that you're going to need is the Trident Rod. This is a requirement in order to get this final rod that we're going to be showing in the video. So if you have not unlocked this, make sure to go to my channel and look up the Desolate Deep full guide. I will explain how you get the Trident Rod. I don't actually think that's what the video is called. I think it's called How to Unlock the Trident Rod. It's really simple, nothing really too crazy, should get it done very, very fast. With that being said, you're going to need one of every single one of the essence that we previously talked about. Requiem, Thalassar, and the Tide Essence. All 3 of these are required. Additionally, you are also going to need 1 Sunken enchant relic, 2 cosmic relics, 3 exalted relics, and of course, your 3 essence that I mentioned before. Now, assuming you have all of these, let's go ahead and head on over back to the Tidefall area because we're going to have to swim down and go a little bit off track. So go ahead and put on your super flippers, put on your advanced diving gear and your tide breaker. We're going to go straight down, except that this time we are not going to go all the way down. Instead, we're going to go ahead and turn really quickly into this little side sort of pocket right over here. It's kind of hard the way that I explained it right there, but let me go ahead and head back and I'll show you guys without the tide breaker. I can sort of show you very, very quickly. So right here, instead of going into the second hole, we're going to come into the side one right here. Oh God, I'm going to drown. No, 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 no. There we go. All right. And then once you've done that, you will officially be in this sort of little corridor that is no longer under pressure or anything like that. At this point, you will have made it into Thalassar's secret. I guess the best way that I can explain how to find this is when you are heading down into the Tidefall, there's sort of like two different holes that you have to go in through. Once you go through that first hole, then you're going to be looking for that side pocket. Don't just keep going straight down. Anyways, once you're in here, you officially just have to go ahead and put in all of the relics. It's pretty simple. It'll tell you exactly what you're looking for and where it needs to be placed. So we'll start over here with the essence, put the Tide right here, put the Requiem right next to that, and then the Thalassar on the final one. Next, we grab our Sunken enchant relic, our cosmic relic on both of these, exalted relic on this one and this one, and then finally another exalted relic, where then you're going to see that the door does absolutely nothing. And the reason for that is because you need to go ahead and put on your trident rod, take it out right in front of the door, and you will notice that then you can insert your trident rod into the door. Now, keep in mind that unfortunately you will lose your trident rod at this point, but it doesn't really matter because you will be getting an upgraded version called the Thalassar's Ruin for 14.5 million. This is basically what it looks like right here. Very, very cool. It has that same sort of effect as the Requiem rod, but the stats here are completely different. Same for the passive. So for this one, it randomly slashes fish on the bar, very similar to like the Trident rod. Additionally, it has a negative 25% progress speed with a 30% chance for Ocean's Ruin mutation on fish. The really unique one here is that fish will randomly rise out of the water every 60 seconds with the Forgotten mutation on them. So it's kind of an interesting rod. I didn't really go over in full detail like the actual stats on this, so we'll do that in just a second. But if you notice, I mean, it's a pretty good rod, even though it does seem a little intimidating at first. And the reason for that is because it does have 200% lure speed, 450% luck, negative 0.2 control, negative 75% resilience, infinite max kg with a progress speed of negative 25%. So yeah, that pretty much now does it for this entire update. I hope this helped you out. It was kind of like everywhere, mainly because there's so much to go over. This is a very, very long video and not really what I do for my full guides. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did and you have any additional questions, let me know in the comment section. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.